Good evening, Isaac. How are you?
Good evening, Ryan. I am good. Yourself?
Good. Getting off to a good end of the I guess Monday night. So I had to figure out what kind of dish we were going to have tonight. So I made up some weird pasta thing that everybody loved. So that worked out. But we're not here to talk about pasta, Isaac. What are we here for?
I mean, we could. I do.
Well,
like
we
pasta.
could. It could be the pasta chat. So what are we here to talk about?
So we've got. We're going to be talking about games and their expansions, their worlds, games that have created almost worlds of themselves, where you have sequels to games, and also some of our favorite expansions, and what it looks like for a game to have a sequel. What's good, what's bad about it. So
absolutely, and
so
we have a guest. We have a guest to talk about all of this with us. This is Helaina Cappel. She wears a billion hats. Helaina, how are you doing tonight?
I am very, very well. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah. So Helaina has a little bit of an interesting technology situation going on. Her power just went out right before. And so she's kind of running on backup and making it work right now. So
it's back on.
It's back on. We're back on.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Okay.
But that doesn't mean it will be back on forever. Often there's more than one. So we'll see what happens here.
Okay, we'll see. We'll just take it as it comes. So, Helaina, how are you doing tonight?
I am really good. I am energized and exhausted.
Yes.
As you know, we're running a Kickstarter campaign right now. And also I'm a full-time teacher. So doing those things at the same time is, exhausting.
A lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you've run Kickstarter campaigns both as still being a teacher full time, and then also you took a break from teaching for a little bit. Do you feel yourself getting exhausted with all of this?
You know what? My best 2 years of my career were the 2 years that I was off, and off of teaching and doing this full time, because I felt like I really had a job to do during the day, and at night I get to spend with my family and do my own thing and have a balanced life. But there was something nagging at me, and I felt like there was a part of me that was missing, and I believe that was teaching. So I decided to go back. It proved to be a lot, because we're on our 12th game right now. And so managing 12 games and Kickstarters and grade 7 and 8s and, and my own family and all of those things, it's a lot. So I've decided going forward that to have the best of both worlds, I am going back to school next year only half-time.
Okay.
So
nice.
I'll get to teach, but I also get to be doing the publishing thing full time.
That's awesome. And so Kid Table Board Gaming is when Aaron, myself, and One Board Family started just under 5 years ago. You were one of the first people we contacted because you were making games for kids. And then since then you've started Burnt Island Gaming games, which is making some amazing strategy games. And so we'll talk about all of this in a little bit, but let's start off with an initial question Isaac had. Isaac, what's our initial question to kick off this prequels, sequels, expansions chat?
So we're talking sequels, we're talking worlds, right? So I thought, what's your favorite movie world? So it can be, a trilogy, a sequel, heck, Harry Potter, there's tons of those. What's your favorite series movies? So Ryan's had a few minutes to think about it because I posted it earlier. So Ryan, did you have an answer right away?
Yeah, so Star Wars is my go-to just because I grew up on Star Wars. I was a Star Wars nerd. I loved it so much like that. That was a big chunk of my childhood and teenage years, especially since the prequels came out when I was in high school. And so it was one of those things where we were all excited. We got a little overexcited about it. It didn't work out very well. But so Star Wars would be my go-to, but I think outside of that, Jurassic Park. I really enjoy the first 3 Jurassic Parks. So, and I like the dinosaurs, and I don't know. I like that series. So,
I don't know if you saw in the notes, Mr. Fitch is in here saying hello.
did. Hi, Mick. It's so nice to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, I can
So
show comments in here. Boom.
Hey,
There we go.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
There we go.
So, Helaina, do you have a favorite movie world or universe, as it were?
I mean, I obviously I think we were probably born around the same year, but Star Wars was huge for me when I was a kid as well.
Sure.
But I think getting more into the MCU, and as you know, I got a little bit older and a little bit nerdier, and you know, my husband's really into it, and my kids also. So like we just went through the entire MCU from start to finish.
Nice.
Nice.
The only one that my kids haven't seen is WandaVision right now. But it's so immersive for me, and you know, the interconnectedness of all of the stories. And now I wish when I was younger that I'm an only child, so I wish I had an older brother or sister who could have, you know, perhaps got me into the comics when I was younger, and you know, feel a little bit more grounded in that universe. So MCU is up there, and because I'm, you know, a little bit playful, and I'm a teacher, and I'm always thinking about what movies for families or for kids that also is very immersive for me, and it's the Toy Story. Like the story from one to the next is just such a beautiful story. I love Toy Story also, so I thought I'd throw that in there.
And they hold up so well. Like going back and watching the original, you're like, oh man, you really feel it, you know. So
absolutely.
I love the Toy Story pick. That's a great idea. Sean's got a good one there.
Indiana Jones, yeah. And there's a new Indiana Jones being filmed.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, that's so cool. I saw Indiana Jones, like all of them, with my mom in the theater. And that's probably like one of the really nicest memories that I have, that I shared with my mother, that I think a lot of people, perhaps didn't share with their mother. My mom was a single mom, and, you know, she mostly raised me. I mean, my dad was around, but I did a lot of stuff with my mom, and she was totally into Indiana Jones, and loved it.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, we grew up going to the movies. You know, my family owned a restaurant, so we worked hard all the time. But Saturday early afternoon, we'd go to the movies, and it's constant. You know, we saw all the stuff, the Indiana Jones stuff, the Star Wars things, right? Like I love the Star Trek world. Even like we sucked it all up. I do love the MCU. It's been great. I have a 14-year-old son, right? So the last 10 years, we've grown in that together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we watched Iron Man when he was 4, and we watched them through together. It's been awesome. But for me personally, the one that like really, really like always gets me, I'll watch it nonstop, is the trilogy known as Back to the Future.
I
could Back to the Future all day. Like I love it. I love the series. I love the acting. I love just learning little things about the series, you know, as time has gone on, and you see like original cuts. I love the deep fake with Robert Downey Jr. If you've ever seen it.
Yep.
Where that, like, there's some amazing stuff, but that trilogy is just like, it's such an awesome feel good kind of movie set.
I think that's so well done the first time around that if anybody ever redid it, I feel it would just hurt, you know.
And there's also like no point, because it really is timeless, because it does go through time, right? And so it shouldn't be remade. No way.
Yeah.
They can make board games about it, but they should not make another series.
There we go. There we go.
That's enough.
Continue it in comic books and stuff, you know.
Oh yeah.
So,
right.
Cool. So Sean says, if I hear the Shire theme of Lord of the Rings, I need to watch the entire extended trilogy to the end. So I struggled through Lord of the Rings. I love the first one. And then I fell asleep in a midnight showing of the second one during the battle scenes. It was in college or right after college or somewhere around there. We lived in Atlanta. We went to this big midnight showing, and I just knocked out in the middle of a scene. I was like, maybe this isn't for me. I don't know. So,
how could you
anyway.
even? Like it was so big and loud and bright.
I think I just worked a lot. So
that's fair.
It was really sad.
That happens.
So let's talk about favorite games that are part of a series or in the same universe. Isaac, you had a couple that you had thought up, and Helaina. So I don't know, like what kind of how deep your gaming goes, but hopefully there's been some series that you've picked up over the years that you're like, oh yeah, I like this one. So what you got, Isaac?
Oh, I can start. Yeah. So one of my favorite series, and I was lucky enough at PAX Unplugged. Gosh, it's hard to say like last year. No, that's not true, right? Like PAX Unplugged 18. So it was the first PAX Unplugged I went to have a chance to sit down and watch Kyle do art for. And just watching him, he was just doing sketches. If you bought some pins, he did a sketch for you. And nice. I got a sketch for a buddy who was like obsessed with this game. Kind of wish I just kept it, but I know he was really happy for it. But this world they've created with this game, it's immersive, it's beautiful. The art is great. Like it's a war game for people that are like, I don't know if I want to play a war game. Yeah. Like I love this thing. And I mean, I'm looking over my shelf. I got 5 boxes of this with all the expansions, with with all the extra stuff. They've created a universe here that you want to be a part of, and I just love it. And Mick, it is a cool series.
It is. Helaina?
I haven't played Root yet, which is, I can't even believe that I'm saying that. I don't know. There's just I'm fine with a game that's that heavy. I don't know. I mean, the art is nice. I don't know what it is. I can't get there.
Lots of games to choose from.
Sorry?
Lots of good games to choose from, right? I get
absolutely.
I get the same thing from Bob all the time, where he's like, "I can't believe you haven't played that." I'm like, "Look, there's so many games." And
you play a lot of games.
Yeah, I try to play a lot of them. I'm gonna miss some. We're all gonna miss some.
Yeah,
it happens.
Yeah. You know what? We just got our delivery of Oath, so we'll see what happens with that, and I'll start there and go backward if I need to. So I have been thinking about this a lot, and I don't think I ever really got into any series of games. And the reason I think that is because I play the first game, and if I really, really like it, I often get discouraged by anything that comes after it, because it never lives up to. I'll only try a second game in a series because I liked the first one so much. But if I like the first one so much, I'm expecting it to be so much like the first one. And so I'm often disappointed. So I'll just give you an example. My family plays Azul like nonstop. My mother-in-law learned to play it a few months ago, and it doesn't stop. And I really like it too. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite abstracts.
True.
Well, then we got Summer Pavilion. I was just like, same thing. Not the same, but a little bit different. But it wasn't that exciting for me. And then, every year I play Forbidden Island with my students at the beginning of the year to teach them how we all work together and take turns. And everyone has their own responsibilities that they're going to have, and they come with their own skills to their group and to the classroom. And it's a great game. And then I played some of the other ones, and I'm just like, it's okay. So I never really have gotten into playing more games than the first one, because I just get disappointed by it, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I would say with the Azul one, you know, Azul was such a huge hit for our family and such a big game. Like we were teaching it to family members, the family members were all playing it, everybody bought a copy, and then Stained Glass came out, and I almost felt like I had to force myself to like that one. Whereas we really like Summer Pavilion. Like Erin, my wife Erin, Summer Pavilion hits just right for her because it's a little deeper and you have to plan a little more. And so Erin loves Summer Pavilion. That's her go-to. But Stained Glass, I feel like every time I played it, I was like, okay, this is a good game. This is a good game. I had to psych myself up to play it, you know? So
yeah, I just didn't care for Stained Glass that much. It's on my shelf. I have it, but yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I like regular Azul, and like you're saying, we played the heck out of that game. Like we still drag that out. We want a good abstract, and I do like Summer Pavilion. When we got it, we played it a ton, but regular Azul comes out a lot more.
You still go back to regular. Okay.
Yeah,
I think
especially
it
with the trays.
I mean, all of the art is very similar, but the art on Azul is so much more striking and bold, and I don't know. I love the way that game looks. Like I want to make every game that I make look like that game. Gorgeous.
It's gorgeous on the table.
I will tell you that a series that I really, really enjoy, and I didn't realize how much I would enjoy it, would be the West Kingdom series. So when we started with, you know, Architects, it was pretty straightforward worker placement game. It was very easy to teach. There was something going on. Play Paladins. I loved Paladins, and then I just got Viscounts for my birthday last week, and it's hit the table 3 times already. So the West Kingdom series is really big for us. We've really enjoyed those 3. We've enjoyed all 3 of the games for different reasons. So.
You know what? I agree with you. Those are really good games. Architects, I absolutely loved it. But I mean, if you look at my shelf, like I have a part of my gaming shelf, which obviously is not here. This is my white wall, where I take all my interviews. But if you look at my gaming shelf, like there is a section that is all worker placements, and those are my favorite games. And it's really difficult for me to turn down a worker placement game. I tend to very much like them. And what Shem has done with those games is just phenomenal. So I can get behind that one.
Okay, cool. So I convinced you. Yes.
Yeah, you did.
So Isaac, you mentioned like a series of games that are in the same universe. The world of Azrium, basically Above and Below, Near and Far, Rome, Isle of Skye, all of those. That's such a cool world. Like the art, everything that the Lockets are doing through Red Raven. Like I love the art. I love the style of the land. I love the weird creatures that you come upon. One of our favorite area control games is Rome, which does not get enough love. It's like tarot size cards that you're trying to control areas with these little tokens, and you're coming in from one side. The side that you are coming in from, that's the way that your space, the area that you're controlling, you have to use those little blocks in that direction. So it's really thinky, and it's a lot of fun, and it's set in a world that I love. So
probably the other one that came to mind when I thought about a series was honestly, we play the first one the most, but it's one of my favorite designers to just sit down and chat with at a convention, because he loves to just kind of chat and tell you all about his design process. Is Emerson's Century series, and Century Spice Road is probably, I'd have to check my stats. It's either this or Azul that's my wife and I's most played game. And Century Spice Road is just a gorgeous game. It's so simple, but it's so like every time we play it, we feel like you've got another thing that you're trying to explore. And each of the games he made was very different in the series, right? He went to Eastern Wonders, he went to New World. I don't have a third hand to grab it, but I love that he smashed them together. That he created ways to play 1 with 3, or 1, 2, and 3, or 2 and 3, and we haven't even explored all of the different playthroughs, and I've had these for a few years. So I love that Emerson was able to say, okay, I want to create this world and interact and see how these very different games, right, can kind of work together, and not say like, okay, I'm just going to create, like you're saying, the same game with just a little bit different art over and over.
Zach Connolly asked, how about Tim Fowler's Burgle Bros universe? So
my kids loved Burgle Bros. I can't play that game. I don't know. I'll play it with them. I will play it with them. It just is, I don't know. It just does not do very much for me. But I will, if my children say that they want to play a game, I play anything they want to play.
There we go.
Yep.
Typically they choose good ones.
That's good. So I have not played Burgle Bros. Rick, who writes, I have
not either.
Yeah, so Rick, who writes for One Board Family, he is a giant Tim Fowers fan, loves Tim Fowers' work, buys everything he can from him, and so yeah, he loves Burgle Bros. So, yep. Mick says West Kingdom series is fun. Yes.
Sure is, and Zach is really surprised to hear that I'm not a Burgle Bros fan. I'm sorry, Zach.
Yeah. These interviews, they let you on the inside, and you're like, oh no, I can't be friends with this person anymore. So
we have Josh Schwartz and Michael Petrie over in our Game of Sidekicks page saying hello as well. I know our comments there don't show up from them, but hey guys, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, the connectors for a restream, there's only a limited amount, and so it's one of those things that we need to figure out ways around it. So
yeah, come comment over on the One Board Family page.
Yeah. So favorite expansions to a game. Let's talk about expanding the universe, how a game goes out from its initial release. What are some expansions that you absolutely love? Helaina, do you this one?
I'm happy to. I think I alluded to this a little bit earlier. I'm not such a fan of expansions, even though we're running a Kickstarter campaign right now in the same universe as a previous game that we had published, and then we have Endeavor: Age of Sail, which we did an expansion for. I don't know. Again, I just the initial game is always so good. I'd rather just, maybe get some mini expansions and add them in to enhance the play and make the play a tiny little bit different than the game. But if I'm going to say that I love an expansion, it's going to have to be the Endeavor Age of Sail expansion, expansion. Can I say expansion again another time? Expansion?
Yes. You can say expansion as many times as you want.
The reason I like that expansion so much is because it doesn't so much change the gameplay as much as it gives it a fresh vibe, and there are a few different mechanisms that you use, but the gameplay is exactly the same. So I play Endeavor because I love it, and then playing that expansion allows the gameplay to be a little bit different. So that suits my tastes.
Right. Yeah. You took my first one. I got my Endeavor box sitting over here. I managed to fit the expansion. It's all in here. Rubber band for safety.
Amazing.
Put it all in.
We've made it very clear on our site. The four of us, Stuart, JT, Randy, myself. I mean, Endeavor's probably one of our favorite games that we can all agree is one of our top games. Mick, you're gonna love it. You're gonna absolutely love it. It's like nothing else. I take every opportunity I can to teach this game to people because it's smooth, it's beautiful on the table. Like in the expansion, like you said, I kind of mix and match like what I want to teach somebody right? Like how soon do you throw things in? My wife loves to play it without the extra
Exploits.
Yes, she doesn't like the exploits. She'll play that game left, right, and sideways, but when you start adding those extra layers, she's like, let's bring it back just a little bit. So, but I've got other friends who are like, give me everything, throw every little mini expansion in, so I love that it's got so much of that in there, kind of like Glenmore, where there's so many expansions in the box, right? And you can add what you want and add a little, add a lot, have a good time. Like you said, those mini expansions are a great addition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, modular expansions are so cool. I think one of the ones that I really enjoy, somebody said it was out of print or between prints. It's the Carnies expansion for the Bloody Inn. So the Bloody Inn is one of mine and Aaron's favorite games. It's just this management game that's really tight, and it's a little morbid and weird, but I love the artwork from Weberson Santiago. Awesome artwork. And the Carnies expansion is a small box, and it comes with 3 different modules that you can put in. You can replace an entire set of characters with another set. You can actually set up this thing where it's like traps that you have to you purchase traps that do different things. There's carny workers that come into the inn, and they have special rules on how you can hire them or kill them, things like that. It's the Carnies expansion for the Bloody Inn is really, really well done, and you can add whichever of the 3 pieces you want into the game, and it completely changes it. So it makes the game deeper, and it makes you have to look at another aspect of the mechanics. So, which I really like. So I like it when games do that. So
for sure.
Adam says, greatest expansion is Exotica expansion for Eminent Domain. Game takes a game from a 7 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's a big jump.
Yeah. So
I didn't grab them, but I also like a good, like, just changing up the board for some of these games. So like one of our old school cool games we love to play still is Power Grid, right? So I've got tons of boards for Power Grid. To me, those are worth a little bit of variety to play some of the different maps. And also Downforce, like I really enjoy Downforce. I like having the different car maps and roads and different kind of obstacles to throw in there, and a little bit extra things that added where it wasn't a complete change of the game, but it gives you just a little bit more more variety to it.
One of the games I think that has does a neat job with expansions actually is Small World, because the expansions are so tiny, but they make a big difference within the game. And we love that, playing that game too. So
yeah, that's good. Downforce. So any of the racing games, I got into Formula D years ago. Didn't think I would like it, and I went off of watching some YouTube reviews of it, and ended up loving the game. Ended up running a league out of my job during our lunch hour for a couple of years. And it was crazy. We would have a 10-week-long league where people would be racing and standings and trophy and everything. But Downforce, the Wild Ride expansion, the 2 maps that are included there are so well laid out that it's kind of like if you had to tell somebody to buy one of those, the Wild Ride expansion is fantastic for Downforce. It's the one that I keep going back to it and saying, man, this the way they laid out this road, this extra mechanic, the jump, I really love it. So
it feels right.
Yep.
You got some Formula D comments there.
Yeah, there we go. So Matt says, I made my own maps for Formula D, quad fold, chipboard, and everything.
Wow. God, that's pretty hardcore.
Yes. So have you ever seen, if you go deep enough down the rabbit hole of Downforce, of Formula D, there are people that would replicate the original board onto a sheet, like a bed sheet, and use Matchbox cars, and it was all to scale for the Matchbox cars, and it was I looked at it, it's like, wow, that's a fun
one. That's going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So yep. So Downforce is our jam, like the old folks say.
So. Is he talking about me? I think he's talking about me.
I just crossed over into that range that you're in. this
I
past
know
weekend. So
came to join me in the 40 club.
yes, 40 club. I got my membership card, and I know
You-
AARP stuff
you
is
guys
coming.
You're so young.
We're all young at heart. That's why we're sitting here talking about board games. So.
That's true. That's true. Yep. So let's get to, so tell us about Fall of the Mountain King. Let's talk about this Kickstarter that we've alluded to. Helaina, Hall of the Mountain King. Bob actually taught me and Aaron how to play Hall of the Mountain King. I think he had gotten his Kickstarter pledge. He got it, unwrapped it, learned it, and then came over the next day to show us. It was really, really cool. So tell us about Fall of the Mountain King and kind of what's going on with this prequel.
All right. Well, I mean, we do have to start within the Hall of the Mountain King.
Yeah.
In the Hall of the Mountain King, the trolls who were banished from their ancestral home by the gnomes have come back to unearth their sacred statues and, build up their mountain again to its former glory. And it is a very, very wonderful game. And it's still doing really well. We're very excited to see that it's still going. Like, it's 2 years already, and the game is still going. So really happy about that. In fact, the sales have been very steady over the 2 years. So we felt like maybe we should make another game in this world, and we had many conversations about it. And then Adam Dalton, who is here with us today, the designer of Fall of the Mountain King, brought me a game and taught it to me on Tabletop Simulator. And I thought, this is really interesting. There was a part of it that was sort of reminiscent of, if in the Hall of the Mountain King, there's like a little side puzzle where you are collecting trolls in your Trolls Moot, and you are, that's how you gain your resources and use your resources. And so that's a really nice, little puzzle on the side of the game that you're playing. And so he showed us this game, and I really loved it, and I said to my team, like, let's play this and see how it goes. And like virtually, like right after we played it, Sean, who was here with us, said, why don't we make this in the Hall of the Mountain King game? There is this little puzzly thing that happens at the side of the board that doesn't feel like it's the same thing. It feels different, but it also feels the same in that you need to be controlling this little side puzzle, which I'll talk about in a second, to it's like action selection. So you are using those actions to do something on the board. And we talked about it for a little bit, and it seemed so natural that was the thing that we were going to do. The game was originally called Heptarchy, and it was about England and I don't even remember. I'm sorry, Adam. A long time ago, and not that there was anything wrong with that, but I felt like it would be a really great idea if we did this. So we played it a little bit more, and I didn't do very much development on this game, which is sort of sad for me. And that's where going back to school was like a struggle for me. I had to give something up, and that was the piece that I gave up. So Sean and Josh, who is my husband and also on development and the creative director, and Adam, have worked on this game for months and months. And then we had Jay and Graham, who are the designers of In the Hall of the Mountain King, come in and do some development on it as well. And like lots of stuff changed because of their development. So it was really nice to have that connection, when we were doing the development piece. So I didn't have that much of a hand in making the game in that way this time. But felt like this would be a really nice piece to put in the puzzle. And then came, why don't we turn this into what happened to the trolls when they were banished, when the gnomes took over? And by some magic, the gnomes disappeared again for the trolls to come back, which is in the Hall of the Mountain King. And it just, as development went on, it became this really wonderful, I like to call our games work of art. It became this really wonderful work of art where you have this puzzly thing. Again, that's your action selection. It's your ancestry. That's what we're calling it. So you're choosing different parts of your ancestry to use to do the different actions on your turn. And essentially, you're either putting trolls onto the board for area control. You're moving them out to gain more control,
Nice.
or you're trying to gain control over some of the gnomes that are coming in, or have them gain control over you. So, what's interesting about this is we're calling it bloodless area control. So you're not really affecting the other players. And that was a feeling that we wanted to get. And in fact, that came from Graham and Jay, that they felt, originally we were doing a lot of battle against the other players, and they felt like that's not really what the story is. We're not fighting against each other. We're fighting against the gnomes. So, we have these gnomes that are coming in and they're trying to get us out. We know that the end of the story is that the trolls, they left, they lost. But how glorious are you going to be if you are the one that survives to the end? And so it's really nice to be able to be really fighting with the gnomes and not fighting with the other people around you. So the game itself is incredibly unique. It feels very samey in terms of we understand how to play area control. We understand what action selection is. Those things are not new to us, but the way they're used within the game is very, very interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I got a chance to see Derek and Lizzie play it, and it looked great. They had a good time with it.
It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of front loading of information, but when you start actually taking your turns and playing the game, you realize that it's actually very simple to take your turn. But there's a lot of decisions to make, and a lot of ways to score, which is also really nice.
Very cool.
And that Derek and Lizzie playthrough, it was really interesting because it came down to, I think it was a great haul at the end, and Derek beat Lizzie by 3 points or something.
Yeah, super close.
Yeah.
I gotta go back and watch that one. Nice.
And I love a close game. But like you said, it's a work of the board is a work of art, right? Like the Hall of the Mountain King board is this Fall of the Mountain King, this mosaic of colors on there, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a good looking board. I can't wait to see what final production looks like. You're mentioning, Ryan, when you first played in the Hall of the Mountain King, we got to play in the Hall of the Mountain King for the first time at Origins 2018. Is that right? 19, right? Because it's 2 years out.
19.
It was before the Kickstarter came out.
Yeah,
so
it was 19.
Yeah, so we'd already backed it. You guys were demoing it at your booth, and you were also running plays of it. So we had signed up. My son, myself, JT was on my team, and our buddy Jin. We got over there, and they had double booked, I guess, a few games where they're like, "Sorry, we already have it going. We can't get you to play it." And we're like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's a bummer. We'll watch these guys play it." And whoever was running that stuff for you scrambled and managed to get enough stuff together to run it for us.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It was amazing. They're like, we found this extra board over at the booth, and we've got they got enough resources and pieces, taught us the game, and even playing that version of it, I was like, oh man, I'm so glad I backed this. This was
really cool.
My son was all about it. He was about the polyominoes. He was about the theme. Cascade is still one of my favorite things in a game.
So cool, isn't it? Yeah,
it is.
It's beautiful to see. You're on your second last turn, and you've finished your last resource, and you put that last troll up there in the pyramid, and everything just cascades down, and you've got all these resources to work with, and your last couple turns are just amazing.
Yeah. And then when you don't plan, I think I'm almost positive anytime anytime I'm part of learning a new strategy game with Bob and my wife Erin, I usually end up the loser unless Bob teaches so well that he ends up losing. I like that when that happens, but I'm pretty sure I lost that first game because I was like, "Whoa, this is so awesome!" But I didn't plan well, and so at the end I was like, "Oh, I got this and that. Oh, cool. I guess I lost." So, but yeah, poor planning on my part.
So we threw the link in the chat. If you haven't
Yep.
already checked it out, follow
Yep.
the Mountain King. We got how much time left on the Kickstarter? A few weeks,
Oh,
right?
there's like 15 days left. I
Yeah.
think
Yep.
we're in the middle of it. Yeah, we're in the
get on.
thick of it.
Yes.
Get on, check it out. What the best game I played online during the pandemic, and I want to mention this because I can't wait. I'm going to ask you when I'm getting it. Is Into Deep. Like Into Deep is, and I don't know, Ryan, if you got a chance to play it, but
Rick played it from One Board Family. He loved it.
Oh my gosh, Sean taught it to us the one night, and I was just like I loved I'm a sucker for a rondel. I didn't know I was a sucker for a rondel board until I started playing more of them, and I'm like, oh man, I love this. And there was just something that just felt like you dropped me in the movie, like dropped me in some movie, right. and it felt so thematic. And I like theme. It's not my favorite part of games, but when a game like that hums with theme, oh man, I'm excited. I cannot wait to get my copy.
Thanks.
That's really cool.
Well, thanks for mentioning it. It's really exciting. It was our time to like go out of our comfort zone a little bit. I think, it wasn't a typical game. We struggle even today trying to, you have a 30-second pitch to give a game, and that game is not a 30-second pitch. It really isn't.
Not at all.
It's a pretty deep game. It's also not a hard game to play once you've played it, except for the decision making.
Right.
But we decided to go a little bit out of our comfort zone, and the game just turned out absolutely phenomenal. And the art is amazing, and it's
Beautiful.
very like you feel like you're right in there, like you're watching a movie when you're playing the game. And it's so puzzly and so many decisions to make. So right now, it's looking like you should be getting your game probably in October. But the reality is the things that are happening in China right now are not likely to let that happen. I'm very hesitant to say what I'm about to say, but I'll say it anyways. It's more likely to end up closer to the end of the year.
Yeah, end of the year, first
I
quarter.
hope it doesn't. Yeah, I hope it doesn't go into 2022 because I do want everyone to get their game already. But just rolling blackouts there, and so they're running on 3 days a week of work, and they're doing 24 hours a day, which is, that is a difficult thing in itself. The people aren't working 24 hours a day, but they're on 24-hour shifts. The factories are going on 24 hours, and then the issue with all the freight and shipping and what is happening now, and I'm trying to get we just reprinted Endeavor, and I'm trying to get it out of China, and like it's impossible.
Wow.
Impossible right now.
Crazy. Yeah. And that is for me obviously that's a very first world problem. I got plenty of games to play. Right. I will be excited whenever I get Into Deep and get a chance to play it. But
I wish all the backers were like you.
Yeah.
Well, you get all excited about something, and then honestly, I have huge issues with that. And I don't know if that comes into us as being reviewers, that we see a lot of stuff come in front of us where it's like, oh, there's this. Oh, what about this? And then I get this new hot thing, and then I forget about the thing I backed, and I got I heard Tutankhamun's coming out here pretty soon for those back then. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about how much I loved that 25th century game. So I'm excited to get that again. It kind of goes like this, and then I forget about it. But that is one, whenever I can play it, I'll be very, very excited to try it.
It's gonna be good. It's going to be good. And we have played it in real life. For a long time, we were just playing it on Tabletop Simulator, and playing it in real life is way better.
That's awesome.
It's
that's
the
awesome.
way board games are meant to be played. Not
That's very
online.
true. It's very
Very
true.
cool.
Speaking of played games, right?
Yeah. So what are we playing? So Helaina, why don't we start with you? What are you playing that is not a product of Burnt Island Games or a product of Kids Save Board Games gaming? You know, what have you been getting to the table with your family?
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I mentioned earlier that Azul is like nonstop around here. And we tend to play lighter games. I have one of my children who can't sit for very long and play a game. So if we do play a longer game, it always happens in chunks, but he always chooses much, much lighter games. So, you know, we're always playing the next one that comes in the mail. And the last game I think that we played that was not Azul was Order of Invention. It's a history game. You're just maybe it was Breaking Games that made that game, and it's by Tim Brown, who also was co-designer of Wreck Raiders, which is one of ours. So in that game, you pick 5 cards out, and they have the invention in history. So it might be the air conditioner and sticky notes, and you have to decide in what order these inventions were made, and you vote on them, and then you find out which order. And you know, it's a lot of fun. It's a quick game, but it's interesting to see some of the stuff which you think maybe was only invented like 10 or 20 years ago was really invented 100 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. And it's good to get some sense of time and that part of like how things came about in front of your kids, because there's, you know, just a couple months ago or a couple years ago, you know, it's like, well, did they have black and white TVs when you were little? And I'm like, do you even know what age I am? You know, it's like, come on, let me show you a timeline here. So anyway, quick shout out to my goddaughter Lottie. So Lottie, how are you doing tonight? So
Hi, Lottie.
Yeah. So she's on YouTube watching us. So Viscounts had to say that this is a good game. This is my brother and sister-in-law picked this one up for me for my birthday this past week and a half ago. We saw them and hung out, and they got this for me. We have played this, I think, 3 times now, and Erin played it for the first time last night. She got home from work and she said, do we have enough time before the stream to play Viscounts? I was like, I don't think so. But we will play it. The fact that she immediately wanted to play that when she got home from work, I was like, yes, because it didn't happen with Paladins. Paladins, I was like, oh, Paladins are real good, but it's a little bit of a time commitment, you know. She really connected with this. She played last night with Bob and Rick. We actually gamed for the first time in a year and a half. We haven't seen each other since around Christmas of 2019. So yeah, so we gamed for the first time actually that New Year's, around New Year's of 2019. That's the last time we gamed together, all 4 of us. So we played this last night and had a great time. So
it's awesome.
Part of the reason that I haven't played any really good games is because we're not getting together with anyone. It's been so hard. It's been so hard on us.
Yeah.
And I like playing 2-player games that are 2-player games, but the heavier games that I like playing, you can't really play with players, and so that that's been really sad.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been tough. I mean, we always do, like, I mean, my wife and I are big into hosting, friends, family, you name it, and it's, you know, it's been a tough year. Memorial Day, we've always had big get-togethers with there's kind of 3 of us, 4 of us families that hang out, and this Memorial Day was the first time we all everybody's vaccinated, kids are vaccinated. We got to actually hang out, and we were sitting there getting ready to eat, and I was getting ready to say a prayer, and I just said, I just want to thank everybody for my friends and just being together, and it got me choked up. Like just being able to be together with them would have been 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like it was like that, but it's just nice. Like it's nice to start having some semblance of normal. Even in small pieces, right? Starting to get there. So I'm gonna steal the one that we both have on our
I have it sitting right here too. So
because this game,
I could show half of it here. Let's do this. There we go. It's like we're passing it through the screen. Look at
passing it right to you. There you
it's
go.
Weird. So
Destiny is so good.
It's real good.
If for anybody, if you've had a chance to play Chronicles of Crime and you enjoyed that, I enjoyed Chronicles of Crime. I enjoyed the app integration, but to be completely honest, cooperative games aren't my thing. They're okay. They're not my favorite thing. But this is competitive, and don't believe what it says. You can't stop other players. You can't be competitive. You can be competitive in this game. And, it is a rare thing where you have to be paying attention to everybody's turns and all the information. It's an RPG with a dungeon master in the box.
Yes.
And it's just a blast. It was so much fun. The minis are the miniest minis I've ever seen.
They're the tiniest minis.
Somebody said they were painting them. I was like, how are you going to paint these? Like, there's no way.
I thought about it. Yeah.
Like, how would you do this? Like, I'm going to grab one out just because.
How big are they? Because the minis for. That's how big the minis for. Oh, that is very small.
Yeah,
that's
very tiny.
Minis for Fall of the Mountain King are going to be very.
They have some, bigger size ones in here too, but the majority of them are those very small ones, which I'm fine, and they work. I just found it funny. Somebody said they were going to paint them.
Yeah, I don't know. I've thought about it, but then I've also said how bad do I want to strain my eyes?
Right.
So,
great game.
So
highly recommend it.
We actually, because Rick wanted to play it, and we didn't want to jump into there's an arc that continues from game to game. We replayed the first story with Rick yesterday. Yeah. And I swapped my character, Bob swapped his character, Rick jumped in with a character, and it was still really good second time around, even though you knew what was happening. I don't think I could play it a third time. So I couldn't play the same mission
the same campaign
a third time. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing about it. So but it was great the second time around. So yeah.
For sure.
I just wanted to mention, I don't typically sit in the dark when I'm doing interviews. But
you sure?
Yes, I'm sitting by the light of my computer screen, and for people who don't know, I have a power outage here, so this is why it's dark.
Okay.
Is
the power out again?
Yes.
Is the power out again?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, I'm glad you're still with us. So
yes, I'm glad to. I guess I had enough juice left in my computer. So
I thought she was playing Haunt the House with us.
Yeah. Which is an amazing game to play in the dark because of all the great. There it is, right there.
There it is.
So a great game to play in the dark because of those glow in the dark pieces in the box. So
here's how I know games are like. Here's how I know a game is good, right? For me, in this massive collection I have, is when I teach it to somebody and they say, "Hey, can I borrow that and take it home and teach my family?" I don't have Haunt of the House. I don't have Wreck Raiders, because the last time I played those with somebody, they said, "Is it okay if I take this?" And my one buddy plays it all the time, both of them with his kids. And he's like, "You want these back?" I'm like, "No, I want you to play them, and I want them to get some love because I have too many games to play all the time. If you're enjoying them, please keep them."
That's amazing. Oh, that's so nice.
So, and one more that we played that we're really enjoying is this guy, Monstrosity.
Oh yeah.
Silly fun, deep water games. It's so silly. Like it's like a good party game in that you don't care who wins or loses. It's just a good time. Right?
Yep.
Look at a feeling monster, describe it. Everybody draws it. Decide who did the best or worst, best, right? Least worst of the drawings.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. Like we've had a lot of good laughs around the table. I love when somebody picks up their card and looks at it and goes, "Oh my gosh," and it's gonna be, it's gonna be a good monster at that point. So great party games. We're starting to get into where you can play games with a few more people. That one we tried it with 4 players. Didn't work well. That's a 5+ kind of.
It's a bigger group. Yeah. We had such a good time. We, during the pandemic, we ended up sitting in garages and playing that game, but like still social distancing and masking and everything. It was weird, but it worked out. And we played on Zoom a couple times where people just used their whiteboard and somebody would take a photo of the monster and send it to them. So we made it work. So. Yep. So anyway, as we come to the end here, Helaina, can you tell us where they can find all the amazing games that you produce?
Yes, absolutely. So we have 2 brands. One makes Haunt the House, you can see behind Ryan there, and Wreck Raiders that we were talking about, and also Food Fighters. If you move your head a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Oh, and
hold it. And Bugs on Rugs, one of my favorite, I love this game, Helaina, right?
I do.
There.
I know you.
Yeah, I love Bugs on Rugs. Bugs on Rugs has murdered Sushi Go. Sushi Go doesn't get played in my house. And I said, that video review, I was dead serious. Sushi Go doesn't get played around here. That does.
Wow, so. That's amazing. Actually, it's one of our favorite games as well, and it gets played a lot around here. So. Typically after we publish a game, we just don't play it for a long time. We just have played it nonstop since we made that game. But anyways, you asked me to tell you about where you can find our games. So our first brand, KTBG, or Kids Table Board Gaming, you can find at www.kidstablebg.com, where you can find some amazing family games. They are all strategy, and they're a little bit deeper than what you would expect from a kid's game. And then also Burnt Island Games, where we make strategy games for adults. You can find at www.burntislandgames.com. And right now we have a Kickstarter campaign for Fall of the Mountain King, which is the prequel for In the Hall of the Mountain King. And that's live on Kickstarter right now for the next 2 weeks.
Awesome.
Good stuff. And you can look in the comments, and I posted both of those links because you need to go there and buy games. So
thank you.
Yes. Cool. So Isaac, where can people find Gaming with Sidekicks?
You can find us at our main site, which is gamingwithsidekicks.com, for our interviews, reviews, previews, starting to throw up these YouTube videos as well. We're pretty active over on Facebook and Instagram as well. And we have a Gaming with Sidekicks board game chat group on Facebook where we just talk about things that we enjoy, right? And throw up some of these videos and throw up other things that other communities are doing, because this isn't a competition. That's why Ryan and I are sitting here doing this stuff together, right? That's why we invite people on, because we want to promote and see what other people are doing in this community. They're doing positive things. And, before this was on today, I was watching James Hudson do a video just talking about just trying to be positive, just trying to do good things, right? And like that's the people we want to surround ourselves with. And there's a lot of good if you look for it in this board game community.
Absolutely. So cool. You can find One Board Family at One Board Family all over the internet, and go over to oneboardfamily.com. We have been pumping out Kickstarter previews like mad people. I got through all the Kickstarter previews last night, and I was so happy because I had this backlog. I was like telling everybody, listen, we have to play another game tonight. You have to sit down after dinner. And so everybody's like, okay, Dad, it's fine, but finally I'm caught up and I feel a little good about it. So you can head over oneboardfamily.com. We got all kinds of previews. The book of, actually, I'll do a quick promotion. Book of Villainy. I don't know why somebody put this inside of a bag. Why did they do that? for Tessa Elise, designed this game, Gold Seal Games. It's on Kickstarter right now, Book of Villainy. Really fun game, super silly. You can't make it as a super villain. You might as well write a book because it's probably easier to become an author. So Book of Villainy, real neat little game.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yep. All right, that'll do it. Thank you so much, Helaina, for coming on and hanging out with us and sharing your thoughts and sharing Fall of the Mountain King with us. So
thank you guys so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Very cool. All right. You all have a great weekend. Hope you enjoy some games with your family and friends. See ya.
See y'all.